In this lesson, we're going to be animating the pizza drop. Okay, so for now, I don't really want to deal with the pizza and the flag both. I just want to deal with the pizza. So what I'm going to do is come over here to my deep dish layers folder and just grab the Windy City deep dish layer and drop that in here. Scale it up so that it matches kind of what I had going on with the other one. And that's just going to help me to not have to deal with this other one for now. So I'll just delete that comp out of here. And I'm going to turn on my continuously rasterize so that it looks nice and crisp. And then I'm also going to turn up the contrast on that layer because you can see that it looks a little bit gray. So we'll just drop that effect on there, turn it all the way up to 100. And if you don't have your effects and presets panel open, you can always go to Window and choose Effects and Presets. Okay, so effects and presets, we added our contrast. Now we're ready to animate. So I'm going to give this a little bit of anticipation to make it just really dramatic. So let's wait 1 second before the animation for the pizza even starts. So I'm going to go so far as to pull that layer forward so it doesn't even begin until that point. And then I want this animation to happen fast, like maybe only 5 frames. So let's go forward 5 frames using the page down key. And we'll go ahead and set a position key for right about there. Maybe even move it over to the left a little. Okay, so I'll hit the P key to bring that up and hit my stopwatch. And then we're going to go back to the beginning of the layer, hold shift and pull it up and out of frame, just like that. So it's going to come in here and hit. Now you'll notice that is not a very realistic looking drop, but we do have this really nice little bit of anticipation at the beginning where it's like, what am I looking at? It's so still, and then bam, there it is. But it's just kind of coming in all at the same speed. And even if you turn on motion blur, 2 linear keyframes are not going to cut it. Now you also don't want to just easy ease those because it's going to make it look really strange as far as starting to kind of hover when it reaches the ground. You want it to look like it hits. So right now it does look like it hits, but it also just feels like it's traveling at exactly the same speed. Really, really boring. So let's fix that by using the graph editor. So I'm going to open up the graph editor, select my Windy City deep dish position, and we're going to separate our dimensions because nothing's happening in the X. So you want to make sure you deselect and then select the X, then turn off its little stopwatch. We're just going to deal with the Y. Now, right now, it's extremely linear, you can see, but we need to come in here and start changing our speed over time a little bit. So instead of messing with the value graph, which is what we are defaulted to right now, I'm going to click that choose graph type and options and change to the speed graph. And now you can see that what I'm looking at, and even if I come back out here to the regular keys, it's changed those to easy eases, which is not what we want. So what we can do is start to come in here and select these and change them. So what I want to do is start out slow and move to fast. And even though that seems like why would it be going slower at the beginning, the idea is to just show the contrast that we maybe see it for a second longer at the beginning and then it's going to plummet. That's going to make it feel a lot heavier. So by selecting the second keyframe, I can pull that all the way down to the bottom. And that's just going to say, you know, we're going to sort of slowly go through here and then it's going to drop. Now, I also don't want it to be so fast at the beginning that from here to here, we pick up so much speed. So I'm going to pull out on this a little bit, but you're also going to notice that now we're going to get a really strange thing that happens. So if I pull this out and pull this forward, we get this boomerang, which is really annoying. So let's jump back over to our value editor from our speed and see what happens. So you can see how now it goes up and down. So what I want to do is pull this back into a nice little diagonal line. Then we'll go back over to our speed graph. And now this is starting to look better. So what we've got here is this kind of, it's a little bit slow, then it gets faster, and then we get a drop. But I think it could still be even better if we pull this up a little bit farther. So now it's not a hump anymore, it's more of kind of a slow hill like this. And you could pull this out more, but you don't really need to, and you want to be careful that you don't pull it so high that you get this little spike in the bottom, because then you're going to get that boomerang thing if you pull it out any farther. So I'm just going to undo that. You don't want the line to go beneath there, and that honestly looks pretty good. So I think that's working nicely for me, just like that. I'm going to come back over here, and you can see these still look like easy ease, but because we've just paid so much attention to the line, they're not going to give you the same kind of easy ease as if you just put default easy eases right on the keys and left it at that. So let's watch that through. I still feel like it might not be going quite slow enough at the top of the animation, because right now these still feel like they're pretty close together, and I want it to feel like they're a lot more close together here and much farther apart, these little dots right there that you see. So let's go back into the graph editor, and we'll grab our Y position, and I'm going to actually give this a little bit more time. Then I'm going to pull this out for this handle here. And what I want to happen is not this weird boomerang that we're getting, but we'll need to go into our value graph to fix that. So what I'm going to do is pull that out a little bit on that side and right here. So we're getting a nice, you can see how those dots are changing over time up here. So let's come in and take a look at those dots. What I want is closer dots together at the top. So pulling this in all the way gets them closer at the top, and pulling this down like this makes them closer to the top. So we've got more of our time spaced out up here. Now let's take a look at this. I'll hit that 0 key. Great. So you can see how it feels like it's staying up here for longer, and then it jumps from here to here to really make that smash very apparent. Great. So now that we have edited the speed graph and the value graph to really get this looking good, let's come back in the next lesson, and we're going to actually add a little bit of bounce to the pizza, so it feels like it is kind of going up and down, and maybe even a little bit of rotation too, just to give it some real, just kind of real life physics of what would happen if something this heavy dropped. It would bounce just a little bit against that ground.